Hello, San Francisco, and welcome once again to the Angelic Troublemakers. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and on today's program, I guess it's not going to work for me. The former payday loan sucker. Now, I am bringing you this program this week, and I have to admit, I am the former payday loan sucker. Yes, it's embarrassing. And I hope that my embarrassment will help you prevent you from making the same embarrassing mistake that I made. Now, I have been trying to do this and avoiding this program for quite some time. And then I decided to look up the history of payday loans. And to my shock and surprise, a gentleman back east somewhere uh, started the first payday loan service, short term loans, payday loan, payday advances. His name was William Allen Jones. And so I'll chalk it up to coincidence that he goes by the name Alan Jones, spelled Allan. But this man who started his first uh, check cashing payday loan service, I think 2000, wait a minute, 1999 or somewhere around there. The name is not important, but he has 1,200 offices. He's worth $500 million, and I don't know why he's crying, but the fact of the matter is he claims that he's uh, minimum wage. Oh, minimum wage in a Huffington Post interview that he did. Now, the issue with me bringing this up uh, has to do with the fact that the payday loan industry is a $40 billion a year sucker scam, in my opinion. And though I may not be the biggest sucker, I will take claim to being past president of the Suckers Club for the payday loan industry. How did it start? Well, I don't remember how it started because it was more than 15, close to 20 years ago when the businesses actually started. And of course, in the beginning, hey, it was all right. But my first clue that something was not right was the courtesy of the tellers that I was dealing with. Now, I have been a Wells Fargo Bank customer, had been. I had a Wells Fargo checking and savings account for over 30 years. And the reason why I no longer have it is because of the payday loan scam that I subjected myself to. Now, I have to tell, early on, when this all was going on, I knew it was a scam. After the courtesies of the tellers and stuff like that, I realized when I went to redo the loan or pay off the loan, I could take one out again and stuff like that. And I was trapped. You can't be trapped if you're a cheat. Well, since I'm an honest guy, I was paying off the loan and just taking money back out. So when I received an opportunity because Congress was starting to jump down the throat of these payday lenders because they realized that what a trap and scam it was. And so one of the companies that I dealt business with sent me an interesting email suggesting that I write a letter to Congress telling them how wonderful the payday loans were and how helpful they were to me. And they gave me the address, and it was an online form for me to fill it out and send it in. Well, you're not going to get me that way. So what I did is I filled it out. And I told Congress what I thought of the payday loan industry. I'd said it was a scam and it needed to be closed down. And I mean, I just said all kind of bad things about it. And then I sent it off online. Well, little did I know, I used their form on this particular payday lender's website. And what they had done was they took my information and changed it, meaning they had a what do you call it, written thing, or you could write your own. Well, they trashed mine, kept my contact information, and put their glowing, oh, these are the best things on earth letter, and sent it off with the other thousands of suckers that, whatever, to Congress. Well, in San Francisco, California, where I am a resident, Senator Dianne Feinstein was my senator, and she was on the committee. Well, like 4 months afterwards, I get this letter from Senator Dianne Feinstein in disagreement with what I was saying in the payday loan industry. So that's how I found out that they had switched what I said, because my view and Senator Dianne Feinstein's view was the same. These are ripping off mostly poorer people. And they tricked me by getting me to co-sign to their silly deeds by giving me the option, and then when they read my option and they didn't like it, did the old switcheroo. So then things kept going along. Well, early on, banks decided they wanted to get in on the action. And so I, using my Wells Fargo banking account, I could just say I want $500, and voila, $500 popped up in my account when I was low on cash. So the way they did it, it was far cheaper than the payday loans. The payday loan people, they were charging 300% on their loans, and I don't remember the amount, but it was very cheap, what I paid back. And their system allowed me that if I do it 3 times or 6 times or something like that, then they won't loan me any, but they'll give me time to pay it down. That was good. Then Wells Fargo stopped. Their explanation, the banking industry has changed its, due to Congress, the banking industry had to change its uh, methods or whatever, and they couldn't no longer uh, offer those type of loans, and they gave you there was like 6 months of to pay it off, and it it was just like no. Well, when I got into financial trouble again, I went back to payday loans. Now, I have to confess, when I said that I was not the biggest sucker, but I was doing quite an awful lot. 9 different payday loans I was juggling a month for several years. I know it was bad, but because I wanted to keep my checking account and it was hooked up to my direct deposit and all of this, it was a trap. And that trap worked real good. And then I said, well, I'm going to try and get out of this. So I contacted one of them and I said, well, I want to just stop this. I want to work out a payment plan. They said, oh, we can't let you do that. You have to just pay it all off at once. And that's that. Well, but they offered payment plan services. So I didn't understand it. So what it was is if I just didn't pay, they can get me in a payment plan. But I didn't want to do that. But they would not accept the fact that I wanted to initiate the payment plan. It was a tricky thing. And so I couldn't get out of it. So years of me doing stupid things like going every payday, redoing these loans left and right and stuff like that. Those of you who know the game, you follow me. But the fact of the matter is I went and did this and did that. And then one day, I realized, I'm not doing this anymore. So I won't say exactly what I did or how I broke the spell, but I will say one thing. I don't have a checking account anymore. Why? That was the price of my silliness. And though I have paid off my payday loan, there was a issue with the bank that, hey, I owe the bank a few $100s, and there's probably 5 years before they even think about doing business with me again. And I feel bad because the fact is for all the years that I tried to do the right thing and be responsible and paying these things off, the one thing that it cost me the most was my 30-year relationship with Wells Fargo. Now, the whole banking industry is a scam. And, so I shouldn't cry too much. But the fact of the matter is banking is a part of life, and we all need to have some sort of trust from a bank. And it's just eats at me that no bank, because of the system that they have, will trust me to open up an account. Now, for me, the way I got out of the situation cost me this, but the good news, now I got money. Yes, I mean, I'm not rolling around with dough in my pocket. I ain't that stupid. But the fact of the matter is um, I'm now no longer living payday to payday. And when had all of these payday loans that I was juggling, I was still borrowing from my family. Now I have so much money, I'm loaning my family members money. And so I say all of this to say that if you find yourself tempted to take out a payday loan, I'm telling you, don't do it. Now, all I had to do was suffer in the beginning of not having the funds for what I claimed I needed them, what was an emergency at the time. And by me, if I had suffered in the beginning, I wouldn't be suffering at the end. And when I say suffering, it's because no bank will trust me. Now, I have had times where I've had, this is true, 15 cents in my account, my checking account, and then 15 minutes later, over $100,000 in my checking account through a wire transfer. And so the thing is I've had money to, in my lifetime, to where I've been able to, enjoy the benefits of a. So I have to redo things to make up for the mistakes that I did. And I'm saying that if you don't want to lose your banking relationship, do not ever get involved with the payday loan industry. Now, when I was searching information on how the payday loan industry scam got started, and then I realized the person who started it, the pioneer of payday loans, was a man named Alan Jones, and he was said to be a racist. Now, this man had said some things that were about where he lived. He said, we have just enough blacks to put together a decent basketball team, but not enough to worry about crime. This is statements from this guy. In his business, in his first business, he and the building that he worked in, every Thursday, they had a black guy come to the office to shine the executive's shoes. And they called the man, I don't remember the exact name, our little chocolate friend or something like that. Now, this man who started the payday loan scam I find out many, many years later is a racist. Now, not everybody who does payday loans are racist, but to think that it was started by a man who had questionable uh, thoughts of black people, that sticks in me. But then when I realized how every time I went to these payday outlets or check cashing or whatever outlets to do my little old sucker loans, I noticed a whole bunch of black people, other people of color, elderly, handicapped. They're making a ton of money off of us suckers. And so I'm just saying, when you go to the check cashing place, of course you're going to see some people who have difficulties with banking. I have a funny story to tell that it puts in perspective something that I think is important. I admit it. I don't know how to handle money. And if anybody wants something that I have, they can have it. Won't I don't think about it. When it comes to paying my bills, I love to pay my debts. But sometimes when you ain't got it, you ain't got it. And I don't trip off of it too much. But knowing that I allowed myself to get trapped in this situation, it was really bad. But the story that I was going to tell, I had a time where my niece was in my truck. We were going to a family event, and she had this big ham that she made and loaded it up in my truck, and we went to where we were going. So I didn't have a tailgate on my truck. So when we get out of the vehicle, and I'm going around, and I see her set this humongous ham on the bed of my truck. And then she bent down and she picked up a penny. And I said to myself, are you crazy? You stopped, put the ham down just to pick up a penny? And she laughed, hey, it's a penny. Then we went on about our business. Well, I thought, well, isn't that stupid? There's no way in the world that I'm going to bend down just to pick up a penny. Well, she has her own home. She's in the banking industry. She bought a condo a few years ago, put down thousands of dollars for it, and she travels the world. And the fact of the matter is she knows how to handle her money. And even if she sees a penny, she'll stop and pick it up. Why? I don't know. But the fact is for me to think that something's wrong with her, when I look at the fact that she goes where she wants, when she wants, and she's had a job forever, never had a problem getting a job, and bought her a nice little old condo in San Francisco. And me, I've been homeless. and lived in my truck and had banking problems to where banks won't even trust me. Now, the issue is, why am I complaining at somebody who will pick up a penny from the ground and I'm just giving away money to some suckers and some racist man who started a payday loan uh, industry that is now worth $40 billion? It don't make sense. But it was a hard lesson. It was a hard lesson that I had to learn. Now that I do have money in my pocket, I feel an awful lot better. But the fact of the matter is when I mean pocket, I don't mean literally. Uh, I know that when you look at certain things that people do and you want to criticize them, as I criticize my niece for picking up a penny, and realize all of the money I just threw out the window over a scam called Payday loans, I really feel like a, a sucker. And I want people to know that though I believe that the payday loan industry will be around way long after I'm dead, I want people to know that this industry needs to be disbanded. That something Congress needs to get a backbone and end this, because it's ripping off an awful lot of people, and uh, with the understanding is when you're desperate, it's one thing. But when you're desperate and your desperation is turned into you being a sucker, that's where I draw the line. And I hope that I am able, in some tiny way, able at some point to express to Congress an industry that has no real business being around. This is usury, which is against biblical principles. This is money sharking. This is, scandalous, mobster type uh, stuff, and it's all legal. And I'm saying, well, how in the world did that get to be? And it is mainly Congress. So, don't get me wrong. I believe that because Congress allowed it, they're making money off of it, they ain't going to stop it. But I'm saying that the only way we can stop it is if we don't get caught up into being the suckers that I was. And believe me, you, the fact that I have not had one payday loan in I don't know how long, and have money to prove it to where I don't need one, I'm saying to you, take my advice. Deal with the hardship of not having something that you really need, because if you dip into a payday loan issue, they're going to trap you. And they're going to trap you, and you're going to end up losing an awful lot of respect from the banking industry. Don't do that.